Hello and welcome to Sundry Sports for Tuesday, July 28th. Beginning with Cowboys Wire. Cowboys free agent signing cornerback first on team to opt out over COVID. The Dallas Cowboys approached training camp with a deep contingent of defensive backs, hoping to present defensive coordinator Mike Nolan with plenty of options. And his name is Maurice something, I believe. Why? Locksmiths. Jalen and Tyron first Cowboys in NFL's top 100 for 2020. The Dallas Cowboys had 6 Pro Bowlers last season and a handful of snubs, so in any NFL top 100 list based on 2019, blah, blah, blah. Jalen and Tyron are good choices. Now, Cowboys elder statesman Sean Lee returns to supporting role. I read about that last night. And that's cool. He's basically been acting as a coach for the last few years anyway. He's just good to have on the sidelines. Great to have on the field, but also really good to have on the sidelines. Question is, will he be able to handle not being on the field? Jameez Olawale keeps returning to Cowboys team that doesn't trust him. The Cowboys offense has many mouths to feed between Ezekiel Elliott, Amari Cooper, 2020 first-rounder CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, Blake Jarwin, and Tony Pollard. Dak, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So, why don't they trust him, though? Has he not? I guess he hasn't caught when he's been targeted. Look good, do good. Meet the Sperry Bionic Collection. Cowboys news. CBA modified his camp is on. Lamp versus Judy. Read that yesterday. Cowboys wide receiver Jon'Vea Johnson placed on reserve COVID-19 list. Cowboys IDER plan approved by NFLPA. Training camp set to open. Cowboys news. Rookie class signed. Jamal Adams saga ends. Why do individual teams have to get things approved by the Players Association? Why? Why is the Players Association so powerful? And yet they still bitch about the culture. What the fuck? Rookie class signed. Jamal Adams saga ends with a trade to Seattle. Dallas Cowboys 2020 fantasy football preview. NFL top 100 list. Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott ranks number 46 for 2020. Okay. Next up is the ESPN Daily. Good morning. We only have to make it 2 more days before we will be blessed with real live NBA games. I've had New Year's resolutions that have lasted longer. We've got this in the bag. Here's your ESPN Daily. Listen up. MLB's coronavirus outbreak. On Monday, at least 11 players and 2 coaches for the Miami Marlins tested positive for the coronavirus after completing their opening series against the Philadelphia Phillies. The positive tests resulted in several MLB game postponements and raised concerns about the league's health and safety protocols. And yet, none of the Philadelphia Phillies have tested positive. I read just today. So, there's that. And I mean, are these players asymptomatic? Do they feel okay? Let them play. Let them play. On today's episode of the ESPN Daily Podcast, what's this? Driveway window roof. Bova quintuplets show they were born to ball as they nail 5 consecutive shots that get trickier as they go. Neat. On today's episode of the ESPN Daily Podcast, ESPN's Alden Gonzalez joins Mina Kimes to discuss what happened and whether the league's 60-game season could be in jeopardy. Then Alden and Mina preview Tuesday's highly anticipated rematch of the 2017 World Series, which the Astros won, though it was thrown into question by the sign-stealing scandal and left the Dodgers very sore. Houston hosts Los Angeles, a matchup not in the original 2020 season plans, for the first of a 2-game series. Things to care about. Silver and Black and Sin City. Imagine if you had wanted a dog growing up and your parents told you it wasn't going to happen. Say you had all the requirements, the perfect backyard and plenty of love and attention to devote to the pup, but it was a non-starter. Then one day you got word that your dog was coming home. After the initial shock wore off, you probably would have been pretty ecstatic. That fairly generic analogy was intended to illustrate how Las Vegas sports royalty like Stacey Augmon, Larry Johnson, Greg Maddux, Ryan Reeves, and Bill Laimbeer feel about having a pro football team in Sin City. To hear them tell it, it isn't far off. Most of the aforementioned Vegas icons thought getting an NFL team in their home city was a pipe dream, but now that it's happening, they're over the moon. Okay, from Randall Cunningham to Bryce Harper and Chris Bryant, we caught up with some of the notable athletes with Vegas allegiance to get their takes on the Raiders' move. Isn't this kind of old news? Why Dodgers-Astros is still a big deal. Oh, more old news. Before the coronavirus panic turned 2020 into a nightmare, the biggest off-season story in baseball was the fallout from the Houston Astros sign-stealing scandal. You know how the Astros' 2017 World Series win over the Los Angeles Dodgers was greatly tainted by an elaborate scheme Houston used that season to tip off batters to the type of pitch the opposition would be throwing. The Dodgers were big mad, rightfully so, and when asked about the Astros' transgressions, they didn't mince words. Now, in a fateful turn of events, the teams meet again, facing off Tuesday and Wednesday in Houston. They are also scheduled to play September 12th and 13th in LA. While the vitriol and drama seemingly have diminished to some degree, they still make for an intriguing story and a juicy matchup between two of baseball's top teams. From whether there will be on-field retaliation to what the Astros have to do this year to validate themselves beyond the sign-stealing scandal, we asked some of our baseball writers and reporters the big questions ahead of the series. We scrolled Twitter so you don't have to. A tweet from Tim McManus. A mural of Kobe Bryant has been added to the NovaCare complex wall, along with Kobe's 10 rules. Okay. Doesn't show all of them. 5 through 10 is learn from greatness, learn from wins and losses, practice mindfulness, be ambitious, believe in your team, learn storytelling. See, this is a mural. It's a picture. Looks like a combination of pictures. As a sad yet committed fan of the newly minted Washington football team, formerly known as the Redskins, you'll rarely hear me bestow praise upon the NFC East rival Philadelphia Eagles, but this news transcends rivalries. The Eagles have paid tribute to the late great Kobe Bryant, who was born in Philadelphia and was an who was born in Philadelphia and was an ardent fan, with a memorial wall at their practice facility. Respect the mural, which was shared on Alshon Jeffrey's Instagram account, has 3 images of Bryant. One from his playing days at Lower Merion High School, one as a member of the Los Angeles Lakers, and one in an Eagles uniform. In the middle are Kobe's 10 rules, which read as follows. Why was he in an Eagles uniform? Just 'cause. Get better every single day, prove them wrong, work on your weaknesses, execute what you practiced, learn from greatness, learn from wins and losses, practice mindfulness, be ambitious, believe in your team, learn storytelling. Sounds good. Things to watch. The Brow Clowns King James. We all have that friend. It's me. I am that friend. Anthony Davis couldn't resist crashing LeBron's camera time on Monday at the Lakers scrimmage. Such a beautiful bromance. Okay. Overheard. I packed like 7 because I figured I'd be good for once a day, but then I ain't calculated all the showers in between everything that I'd be doing, so I'd be running through them in like 2-3 days. J.R. Smith on not packing enough underwear for the NBA bubble. 7? Okay. Remember when? On this date in 1999, Barry Sanders hung up his cleats. The eventual Hall of Fame running back did so with little fanfare. There was no news conference, just a written statement declaring his exit from the NFL. Sanders' decision to walk away from the game at 31 left many scratching their heads. What's this? Lawrence reports to Cowboys camp. Okay, good. There had been speculation that defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence was going to opt out of season. Thank you for not doing that. Sanders' decision to walk away from the game at 31 left many scratching their heads. The Detroit Lions star was still in the prime of his career and was 1,457 yards shy of breaking Walter Payton's career rushing record of 16,726 yards. I guess the man can do whatever he wants to do. Until next time, remember, today, in honor of Manu Ginobili's 43rd birthday, I'll leave you with an inspirational line from the San Antonio Spurs legend. I have dreams inside of me, and I have a chance to make them true. Changes out of daytime pajamas. Okay. This has been your ESPN Daily for Tuesday, July 28th, 2020. Alrighty. That's all for that. Last of all, we have Yahoo Sports Read and React, brought to you by Yahoo Sports. Trending. Manfred. Marlins COVID outbreak, not nightmare scenario. Yeah, because they didn't actually give it to the Phillies. And, meh. Zion back with Pelicans on Wednesday. No trade. Niners and Mostert reach agreement. Washington puts Alex Smith on PUP list. Fauci has a baseball card, and it's already set a record. So ridiculous. The lead. What now? Are they making the baseball look like a coronavirus particle? That's fucked up. And gross. By Jay Hart. Well, if you had day 5 for when MLB would suffer a coronavirus outbreak, winner, winner, chicken dinner. The Miami Marlins are now the new patient zero, the Rudy Goberts, if you will, in America's return to team sports. A dozen or so Marlins players and coaches have tested positive for the coronavirus, bringing their season to at least a temporary standstill. And it's not just baseball. Michigan State announced 20 more positives across its athletic department, while the Minnesota Vikings have had 2 rookies plus a staffer test positive. This is the new, unsurprising reality. Yeah, so just fucking move on. Let them, if they're sick, if they actually feel sick, let them get better at home. And if they're not, if they're asymptomatic, let them go about their jobs. Major League Baseball says it's pushing on despite the cancellation of several games, which will probably anger some, but it's not a shock. It was always a matter of when, not if. And if MLB was going to pack up and go home on the first outbreak, why even start? So here we are a few days in, and what's next? Here's a shallow dive into some of the deeper questions our Henry Bushnell posed to epidemiologists. Should the Marlins keep playing? Easy answer, experts say, no. Just stop. Stop listening to those fuckers. Because it's not their job to consider all angles. It's not their job to consider the good of the country in terms of economy and morale. They're just looking at the disease, and their point of view is to not spread the disease. But there are other things to consider. Some recommend a full 14-day quarantine. Others say 5 days at the very least, with 7 to 10 days a more responsible length. That means no games, no contact with one another whatsoever. As of now, MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred says the Marlins could play Wednesday. Should MLB let the Phillies, the Marlins' weekend opponent, keep playing? The risk that members of the Phillies contracted the virus from the Marlins isn't zero, but it's certainly lower than if this were football. That said, to be fully in the clear, experts recommend the Phillies be put in a 5-day quarantine to eliminate most, not all, doubt. Oh my goodness. Is the MLB season doomed? Experts and non-experts alike are increasingly concerned. I think it's quite likely that there are plenty of other teams that are going to have similar problems, one expert said. They rolled the dice and now this is what they're getting. In the absence of a bubble, another said, with widespread community transmission, I think the MLB is a pretty striking case of how an outbreak can happen really fast. Oh, brother. Should the Marlins outbreak worry the NFL and other non-bubble sports? Absolutely, experts Yahoo Sports talked to said unanimously. The speed with which this virus moved through the clubhouse in an MLB team astounded me, one expert said. It's off the charts in terms of what I expected. It's really bad. Oh my goodness. If even baseball, which is a much more socially distanced sport, cannot make it past a couple days without having an outbreak among 13 people associated with one team, I do not think that bodes well for the NFL or college football, said another. Just make them stay away from old people. It'll be fine. Wetzel, all of sports now facing some hard questions after outbreak. Greenwald, explore the NBA's Disney World bubble in 3D. Thamel, what college football can learn from Marlins mess. We said we'd watch any football, but this is pushing it. Here's a clip from the CW's All-American, a TV show obviously more faithful to drama than football. Any quarterback throwing a lollipop like this would see it end in a pick six. Any receiver who stopped in the middle of a route like this would get plastered. Still, it's football. We'll take what we can get. What? Yeah, that was weird. Follow Yahoo Sports on social. And that's it for Sundry Sports. Thank you and goodbye.